It's time to take your camera off autopilot because in this episode of 5 Minute Film School, we're talking about manual exposure. Welcome to 5 Minute Film School, the show that teaches you to be a better filmmaker in 5 minutes or less. I'm your host, Jon-Michael Booth, and today we're talking about manual exposure. That is, shooting with a DSLR or professional camera that supports a non-automatic mode. Don't worry, it's not as scary as it sounds. Manual exposure is accomplished through setting the aperture, shutter speed, and film speed. That's it, only 3 settings. The challenge is to balance those settings based on a number of factors such as how much light is available and how the film should look. The most basic setting is the aperture, also referred to as the f-stop or f-number. This controls the amount of light that can pass through the lens and into the camera by changing the size of the lens opening. A lower f-number, like f2.8, means a larger opening, and a larger f-number, like f22, means a smaller opening. Aperture plays a large part in how much of the frame is in focus, so often a director of photography will choose a fixed f-stop to use throughout the entire film. Shutter speed refers to how fast the camera shutter opens and closes for each frame. It's usually represented as a fraction of a second. Slower shutter speeds, such as 1/30th of a second, allow more time for exposure but can cause blurring on fast action. Fast shutter speeds, such as 1/500th of a second, can freeze the action but require more light. Shutter speed and f-stop are linked in terms of exposure, such that if you close the aperture by 1 stop, you can balance the exposure by doubling the shutter speed. Likewise, if you open the aperture by 1 stop and half the shutter speed, you can maintain the same exposure. Film speed, in terms of a digital camera, represents the electronic gain added to the image, given on the ISO scale. Increasing the ISO number will increase the brightness in the image, but at the cost of adding additional noise and grain into the picture. It's usually best to start with the lowest ISO that works in your environment, and then add more light to the scene rather than simply boosting the ISO. Since different camera and lens combinations can give different results, it's worth doing some low light tests with your camera to determine the highest ISO and subsequently the noisiest picture that you can tolerate. So that's it for this week. I hope you learned something about manual exposure on a DSLR camera. If you like this episode, please click the like button and subscribe to this channel if you want to see more. I release a new video every single Monday. Please share this video on your favorite social media sites, and if you're on Twitter, you can follow 5 Minute Film School so you never miss an episode. As always, if you want to learn how to make incredible films, you are in the right place. 5 Minute Film School. Give us 5 minutes and we'll make you expose yourself. Wait, what?